And we're live. Welcome to the WAN show. Sorry guys, Luke couldn't join us yet. Don't worry, he'll be here in a little bit. But for now, Slenderman will be taking his place while I introduce the topics for the day and all that good stuff, because Luke is actually finishing up what will be tomorrow's video right now. We're going to be covering the Asus Gladius ROG mouse. It was supposed to be an Assassin's Creed Unity performance guide with a bunch of graphics cards and benchmarking and all that stuff, but I'll let him cover when he gets back why that didn't happen. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So we've got a lot of great topics for you guys today. Aside from that, and AMD has released the Mantle public SDK. So they are pretty much inviting everyone with some need to have a super bare to the metal graphics API, whether it's game developers or say for example other hardware manufacturers. They're inviting everyone to the party. AT&T is acting like a small child about the ongoing net neutrality debate in the US, and honestly, this is just unreal. So we'll give you more details on that. And the nVidia Shield tablet is going to be one of the first devices not made by Google to feature the new Android 5.0 Lollipop OS. Oh, also, I guess, Grid game streaming went out of beta, so we'll talk about that as well. But for now, I got to roll the intro to buy myself some time to go ahead and get our announcement video up that we're live. So that's a thing. Oh, there's no music in this one, I swear. One of these days, I'm gonna figure out which one has the music, and this is not gonna happen anymore. Doot 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 doot. Oh yeah, one of our sponsors today is Squarespace! Actually, there's a bunch of new and really cool stuff about Squarespace for this week. We'll be covering that a little bit later. And our second sponsor for today, ignore that one that flashed in between, that's wardrobe malfunction, is Phantom Glass. Visit store.phantom.glass to learn more about the last screen protector you will ever need. That's their slogan, and I actually believe it in this case. It's a Gorilla Glass cover for your Gorilla Glass, so you can gorilla while you gorilla. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Click now to watch live. http://twitch.tv/LitusTech. Boom! All right, that video's up. So let's jump right into our first topic. AMD releases public Mantle SDK, well, this year. So let's go ahead and first give credit to our OP. So Teraflop posted this on the Linus Tech Tips forum, and the original article is from... And I know these guys aren't the most popular source of news on the Linus Tech Tips forum, but WCCF Tech posted that it is coming this year, and AMD has basically come out and said, look, NVIDIA and Intel, we want you guys to use it. You can use it for free. Now, Intel has expressed some interest in Mantle, apparently. NVIDIA, on the other hand, has not been that warm and has not been that friendly to the whole idea, but I mean, this was something that we've talked about in the past as well. It might not necessarily be about Mantle being the API for, every future game, although they do have a surprising number of games on the list of already released, to be released soon, and currently in development that are supporting this technology. But it might not end up being Mantle API that, the game runs on ultimately 5 years from now. But what's great about them opening up the kimono a little bit like this is Kronos and Microsoft, so the OpenGL and DirectX guys, have already said that they're looking at Mantle and possibly implementing various parts of it in their own APIs. So, I mean, OpenGL has the advantage of its ubiquity. I mean, you can run OpenGL games on a tablet, or you can run them on a PC. So that's really cool. DirectX, of course, has that amazing backwards compatibility as well as that enormous industry-wide support on the PC side of things. And so if either of those get anything positive out of AMD's public Mantle SDK, then that's absolutely fantastic. So I mean, it's incredible how much momentum it's gained, and yet how it might not end up being the winner. But there's no question that Mantle has pushed the industry forward, and we should definitely be thankful for that. All right. You know, let's do a straw poll here. I want to hear from you guys. Okay, straw poll. Will nVidia provide any kind of Mantle support? Yes, no, and let's go with apple fritter for our third option, because I know how much you guys love, you know, just not contributing to the poll at all. All right, let's go ahead and spam the chat with this bad boy. Boom, boom, boom. Ah, I missed that first time. Yeah, no matter where you click in that. Apparently the camera looks really bad today. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, there we go. All that spam. So we've already got, who's this in Twitch chat? One Man Pizza in Twitch chat already says it's not even a question, they will never. I don't necessarily think that's true. I mean, it's not like NVIDIA is in a position where if some game comes out that ends up actually running, you know, 20, 30% better on Mantle compared to DirectX 12, which looks like it's going to offer many of the same benefits, so this kind of thing seems very unlikely. But if there was a game, like a really key game, or lots of games, like a dozen games that run 20, 30% faster on Mantle, you really think NVIDIA's not going to leverage that if they can? I don't think that's true at all. But let's go ahead and see what you guys think. Let's fire up these results here while I move on to the next topic. Wow, we've got 51% of you saying no, 30% of you saying apple fritter, and a tiny 19% of you saying yes. So it looks like you guys are pretty much on the same page about both apple fritters and the chances that NVIDIA will provide any kind of support in their drivers for Mantle. All right. Our next topic, actually, you know what? This is a Ubisoft thing, so I think I'm really just going to have to wait until Luke gets here for this. So first up is, this was posted by Tech Dreamer on the forum. Let's go. And the original article here is from Engadget. But Tom Wheeler, the FCC chairman, says that he may ignore Obama on the topic of net neutrality. Now, he made it very clear that even though he was appointed by Obama, the FCC is a separate entity. Just because the White House says something like, you know, oh, we want to classify the internet in the same way that we now classify telephone lines, so there can be no messing about with the way that traffic gets allocated and the way that bandwidth gets allocated, so that, you know, large corporations would have an advantage if they're able to afford to pay for internet fast lanes. So Obama's basically said, look, you know, net neutrality is a really good thing, but the FCC chairman has come out and said that he thinks that the solution, while, you know, I hopefully, you know, the solution that the internet service providers are offering up, which is that they should basically be able to do whatever they want, as far as I can tell. He's saying he prefers a more nuanced solution. So you guys can interpret that however you want, but it sounds like what we're likely to end up with isn't going to be straight net neutrality and isn't going to be straight the ISPs are allowed to do whatever they want, but some critics and advocates are expressing their concern that a compromise between these two might just end up with a muddy set of rules that doesn't actually have a whole lot of meaning in the real world. So guys, there are 1,000 places that you can voice your opinion on the subject of net neutrality, but the only thing I really have to say about it at this point is go voice it. It's extremely important. Without net neutrality, we could see situations where, let's say a company like, oh, I don't know, hypothetically Netflix were to try to start a, let's say hypothetically, streaming service where they deliver video programming to people's homes. And let's say, you know, an incumbent, let's say Comcast, whose business happens to be, and these are just examples, these are hypothetical companies, any semblance they bear to existing companies is purely coincidental. So let's say, for example, this company, hypothetically named Comcast, goes, oh, well, you know, we're in the business of providing internet connections to people's homes, but we're also in the business of providing video content to people's homes. And if these guys are going to use our lines for that, well, they should be paying us a lot more than necessarily the, you know, exact amount we would normally charge for the amount of bandwidth that they're using. And if we don't maintain net neutrality, we will be stuck in a situation where they would be free to do that. And we could rely on the courts to enforce any kinds of, you know, anti-competitive laws or whatever else. But we talked about this last week where, oh, shoot. And I forget how long it took. I think it was back in 2000 was the issue with Intel misrepresenting the performance of their Pentium 4 processors against AMD's competitor. And so 14 years later, last week this was news, people who bought that misrepresented processor got $15. I mean, that's how long this takes, and that's how ineffective it is. So I wouldn't rely on that. We just need to make sure that we keep the freedoms that we already enjoy in the first place if we want to have any chance of not living in a world where our ISPs are in control, because we know how awesome they are. Speaking of how awesome our ISPs are, AT&T has publicly, okay, this was posted by Dietrich W. on the forum. The original article here is from The Verge. I'll just pull this up here. But AT&T has, oh, that's weird. Oops. Okay, hold on a second. Let's just change my screen share around here. Wow, it just decided that it was going to go into extend mode rather than duplicate. Okay, what? Sometimes I just don't even, you know? Like, I just don't even get it. So let's just show desktop only on one. Let's try that first. Okay. Keep changes. Sorry, guys. Then let's try, oh, okay. And then that display is completely not detected anymore, which might explain some of why it's being a little bit borked. Anyway, the original article's from The Verge here, and AT&T's basically said, well, you know, look, we're not going to invest in high-speed fiber connections, and they're in talks with something along the lines of 100 cities about getting high-speed fiber rolled out. And this looked very reactionary to Google Fiber starting to roll out in selected cities. And so they're saying, okay, look, we're not going to invest in any of that stuff until we know the lay of the land with the new rules. So basically how much money they're going to be able to squeeze out of every, you know, foot of fiber that they lay down in these cities. And this is extremely disappointing to me, not only because they already got the money to build a better infrastructure. I mean, this is well documented at this point. They got the money, they did nothing with it. So aside from that, they've already been paid. This is disappointing because it's not like they're not doing just today. The plan to roll out this high-speed fiber networking is in place on the basis of they're already doing just fine, charging people as much as they're charging them for internet connections that at some point they had to build the infrastructure for, and at some point that investment paid off. From a business standpoint, investing in something that you can get someone to pay you $50 to $75 a month or whatever else for in densely populated areas is a winning proposition, and the only reason that they can afford to just sit on ass until presumably sometime in early to mid 2015 when these rulings get finalized. I mean, if it even happens then, the only reason they're able to do that is because it is so difficult for competitors to come in and force them to step up their game. So I don't know how all this plays out. I mean, it's easy for me to say as a Canadian, well, this is all kind of US nonsense, so it will never affect me here. But the problem is that so much of what happens in the US does tend to become a precedent that's been set for it now, and it does tend to trickle down to other places. Not everywhere, but in the case of Canada, that tends to happen a whole heck of a lot. And our ISPs are no less evil than the American ISPs, so they're going to look at what worked down there, and they're going to push real hard to have it, you know, work up here, and they're going to build case studies, and they're going to lobby our politicians and go, oh, well, look how successful this was. It, you know, did this for the economy because we're able to charge this much more to whatever else. So what a childish thing to do. We're just going to stop building any more better infrastructure until, you know, we get... They haven't said that it has to be a favorable ruling. They've just said that they are going to reevaluate their plans once there's a ruling, but I think we all kind of know how this is going to play out. Got people asking, where's Luke? Luke is recording a video right now, so as soon as he's done, he's going to jump up here and join me and then boot Slenderman out of his spot. All right, so this is a really unfortunate little piece of news. This was posted by Victoria's Secret on the forum, and it is unusual for large companies like nVidia to come out and speak publicly, to post on their blog about, you know, something like an ongoing lawsuit. But this is really important, not because of... Really? I straight up don't understand where that's coming from. That is... Oh, I know what it is. That's a screen grab of the last thing that I was looking at. It's not updating anymore. I see. Okay, well, you guys will just have to take my word for it. It's on NVIDIA's blog, and basically, I'm going to kind of run through the whole thing here because it's super crappy, and Samsung is behaving like a spoiled child about this. So they basically said, look, we filed patent lawsuits 2 months ago against Samsung and Qualcomm, alleging that they've used our patented GPU technology without proper compensation to us. When we filed those suits, we fully expected to be sued in response. It's a predictable tactic. So we weren't surprised when earlier this week Samsung filed a lawsuit against us, adding in for good measure Velocity Micro? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Velocity Micro. If you don't follow the boutique system builder space, you know, the Falcon Northwests and, you know, Puget Systems guys of the world, you might never have heard of Velocity Micro, but they're a pretty small company. Okay, they're not like a gigantic mega corporation like a Dell, where there could be some kind of, you know, collusion between Dell and nVidia to allegedly break some Samsung patent or something. They're just a system integrator, very similar to... This could have just as easily happened to any other shop that builds custom gaming rigs and sells them on their website. So they included Velocity Micro, a small customer based in Virginia. So their action focuses on 8 patents. NVIDIA is alleged to have violated 6. And included in the filing is a false advertising claim against NVIDIA, that the statement about the Shield tablet with the Tegra K1 processor is the world's fastest mobile processor. They're saying it's false and misleading. So NVIDIA goes and like straight up puts, here's our benchmarks against the Exynos 5433 that's in the Note 4. Yeah, you're not faster. Yes, NVIDIA did include a lot of gaming-focused benchmarks. So are they spinning things a little bit? Yes. But they also included some non-gaming focused benchmarks, and it looks like if you were to just sort of, you know, fire a shotgun, and if you hit sort of, you know, the dozen or 15 or so benchmarks that they ran, you would hit more that NVIDIA wins than that Samsung wins. And pretty much... Here we go. It's unfortunate that Samsung sued Velocity. This isn't Velocity's fight. This is just extremely crappy of Velocity. And this isn't something that that NVIDIA's put in their article, but it is something that I've seen in some of the articles about NVIDIA's blog post. But, you know, we got to consider when we shop a lot of different things that often we don't. We tend to look at a spec sheet, we tend to look at a benchmark score, and we tend to look at a price. And then we go ahead and we make a purchasing decision. But, I mean... No one, I shouldn't say no one, I think a lot of us are frustrated at times with the way that Apple behaves with respect to its patents. But is Samsung really being any less vindictive. And it's one thing if they're going to go after another big boy, you know, if they're going to go after an Apple or an nVidia. But it's a whole other one if they bring in a little company like Velocity that didn't do anything other than put NVIDIA graphics cards in their systems. Just because, and this is NVIDIA's theory, this is allegedly, just because Virginia tends to process these filings extremely quickly, and Velocity had the bad luck to be located in Virginia. So just something to consider. Oh, there is an open letter to the public from Randy Copeland, the CEO of Velocity Micro, where he basically says, look, we know nothing about the previous issues between Samsung and NVIDIA, and we don't care. You know, his response really had a very, it had a very bitter tone to it, and he basically said we'll have to use company resources to defend ourselves from Samsung, an obviously mismatched opponent. And he says, if this is how Samsung operates, we want no part of it, and we hope others agree, and we'll consider this during the upcoming holiday shopping season. Can't say I disagree. Mr. Copeland, who I've actually never had the pleasure of meeting, but seems like a nice enough guy and doesn't deserve this kind of nonsense. All right, I've got another Ubisoft thing here that I'm going to skip and wait for Luke to come in so he can weigh on. But I have the most hilarious thing that I probably saw this entire week to show you guys here, and I'm gonna fire it up on this computer so that I can screen share with you guys so you can see this. But this is freaking unreal. Gigabyte releases a triple, or it shows off. I don't think you can buy it yet. I'd be surprised if you can ever buy it, to be perfectly honest. Shoot, where did it go?
I can buy you.
I'll buy your face.
Oh.
All right, so the original article here is from Tech Power Up. Let's go ahead and do a quick screen share. I don't know what's broken about my my stupid thing here, but I can't screen share again this week. All right, screen region. Boom. Okay, Gigabyte announces GTX 980 WaterForce Tri-SLI. All right, so this is 3 GTX 980s, each with their own individual 120 millimeter radiator and 120 millimeter cooling fan. It features this massive, like, Coolant's Exos style external radiator system thing. And then, presumably, because Gigabyte wanted to use a pre-packaged solution, instead of going with a custom pump configuration and then allowing one pump or even dual pumps to power the whole thing, each of these is its own separate all-in-one with its own separate pump and then its own separate set of inlet and outlet lines into the computer. So you actually have to run all 6 of these tubes into your computer with this box sitting next to it.
How are you even going to be able to do that, though? Because I could see, like, are they really, really small tubing?
They look like 1/4 inch to me.
Oh, man.
So they're not hyper small. Like,
No.
you're probably ripping a PCI like, slot out of the back of the back of your case.
Because, like, you're not going to be able to get through the included grommets.
And because it's pre-filled, you can't even, like, go through a grommet. Unless you could thread your graphics card through your water cooling grommet.
Oh, my God.
So this...
You wouldn't be able to go through one of the expansion card slots either, then.
Oh, yeah. Wait, how is this even supposed to work? I wonder if they
Would
do
you
have
to
quick...
go through the
Maybe
front?
they have quick connects. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about this. Don't quote me on that.
The front! You have to go through the front!
No.
That's horrible!
No.
And they didn't even sleeve the cable. Look.
This is worse than I could have possibly
they can't even see
imagined.
this, can they?
Yeah, they
see
can.
this?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. They're looking
okay.
at this right now.
Okay.
Come on.
Is that okay? Do they give you a custom like bay thing?
I guess so.
That is it, isn't it? Yeah.
Just wow. Mind you, here, this is a value add. It comes with this graphics card reinforcement
Cool.
bracket doohickey.
Bracket doohickey.
And so yeah.
Is that a custom? That's a cool SLI bridge.
Yeah. I'm not gonna buy this to get that SLI bridge, mind you, but
But I wouldn't buy that to buy the like thing that looks like a bicycle tire pump either.
So yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I was saving the Ubisoft topics. Oh yeah, so I should probably finish up. I should probably finish up that graphics card thing for you guys. Each of the cards is going to be clocked at 1228 megahertz core, 1329 boost. Although of course you'll be able to overclock them further with 7 gigahertz on the memory. The front panel can control fan speeds and coolant pressure of each of the 3 loops. If for whatever reason you wanted to do that, and I think that's pretty much it. It's fully assembled in the factory, but I think that was implied when I said these were pre-built.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with this article on PCPer.com, and I apologize for this just being sort of a little bit kludgy this week. I will figure out what's wrong with the capture card. So here's the original article from PCPer.com. It was posted by Obscure Mammal on the forum, where Ryan had an article, or had an opportunity to talk to the Ubisoft development team about, hey,
I actually didn't know about this article.
What the heck is going on over there? So basically, the development team came back and said that Assassin's Creed Unity is one of the most detailed games on the market. It has a giant... Hold on, just calm down, Luke. It has a giant open-world city with tens of thousands of objects visible on screen. Paris is incredibly detailed. For example, Notre Dame is millions of triangles itself. It features global illumination, local reflections, realistic high dynamic range lighting. They talked about scaling down the quality to allow for lower system requirements, but decided against it because they were targeting existing PC hardware, not future cards, but high-end existing PC hardware. And this is a quote: "Our position always came back to us ensuring that Assassin's Creed Unity is a next-gen only game with breakthrough graphics. With this vision, we did not degrade the visual quality of the game." They are planning to continue working on Oh, I haven't been screen sharing with you guys. I'm sorry. There's the article on PCPer. So, yeah. Basically, it's just Ryan asking questions, and then a big long thing. Oh, there's some updates since the last time I had okay, so apparently okay, so there's updates. We can actually chat about these updates very briefly, but the last part of what we originally sort of knew about this was that they're going to continue working on optimizations, and you'll hear more details shortly. So here's an update. A couple of other media outlets have posted anonymous information that indicates that the draw call count for Assassin's Creed Unity is at fault for the poor performance of the game on PCs. According to this quote-unquote anonymous source, while the consoles have low-level API access to hardware to accept and process several times the number of draw calls that DirectX 11 can, DirectX 11 is limited to 7 to 10,000 peak draw calls, while the game is apparently pushing in excess of 50,000 draw calls per frame. And then if this turns out to be true, it would be a confirmation that UBC didn't take the time to implement a DirectX 11 port correctly. And if it's not true, or that's only partially to blame, then we're left with more meaningless finger pointing, because people really want to point fingers. I've seen fingers pointed at nVidia GameWorks. Yeah. I've seen fingers pointed at Ubisoft. I actually don't think I've seen anyone blame Microsoft for this one, although you could make the argument that if we're draw call bound, the overhead associated with DirectX 11 could be partially to blame, given that it's no secret that graphics card makers like AMD have been pushing for a lower level API to the point where they went and created their own for an awfully long time now. But it makes a ton of sense, especially because even though we weren't able to do our own performance testing of Assassin's Creed Unity, and I'll let you go on that very soon, especially if we weren't able to do our own today and yesterday, which is what we wanted to do, it makes sense given that we've looked at other people's performance analysis, and it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. We don't seem to be limited by the traditional things like memory bandwidth or, you know, fill rates or...
At the same time, though, pretty much everyone that I've seen actually reporting numbers has had, like, fairly blatant disclaimers, being like, it's pretty spiky. Because, like, even the amount of times that I was able to get it live, Like, I could be just staring at one exact wall, and, like, I lined up framings with, like, okay, there's a groove along the wall here. I'll put my screen exactly on that groove.
Stand on this
spot. I stand on exactly the spot. Like, I had the framing perfect. And I'd look at it and get 63 FPS. And I'd look away and come back, and now I'm at 52. And I'm like,
wow,
what?
bro.
I'm staring at the same wall. Like, it should be the exact same performance, and it's just not. Like, why not? What is wrong with you?
So, are we actually here? So, why don't you give the update on your experience with Assassin's Creed Unity so far?
Okay,
I'm sure they want to hear from you.
I got...
Because it's awesome. Oh, hold on. Yeah!
Oh, there's a little logo. I don't know if we're supposed to... Anyways.
That's on my shirt. I'll hold really still.
Yeah, there you go. So it started off, I showed up to work quite early today, because I was like, I need to get this testing done before the WAN show. Trying to be all good Samaritan and get you guys a video. Yeah. Didn't get a successful boot for, what, 2.5 hours?
Yeah. No, you were talking to me at, like, 8:45.
The first message I sent to you was...
I think you hadn't had it booted yet.
Yeah. I think the first message I sent to you was before 7, because I got to work pretty early.
I don't think I replied to that one.
No, not till later.
I was sleeping.
I thought so. I just wanted to send that message before I forgot about it. Anyways, had tons of issues. Like, I could load in and then take like 2 steps and I'd lose connectivity to Uplay, so the whole game would just crash. It wouldn't go like, oh, you're offline now, you can't open those stupid freaking chests. No, you actually can't play at all. And it's not like it just closes the game. The whole thing just like gray screens and then does that like, Microsoft is trying to figure out what just happened to this program. We don't really know. Do you want to end it? I was like, of course, it's trash. Anyways. So then eventually I'm like, I messaged Linus and I was like, should I just go offline mode or should I go online mode? Like, there's a noticeable performance increase when you go to offline mode, which is hilarious.
And I voted for offline mode because I figure they've got to patch this. I'm sure that if there's that much of a performance disparity just between being online and being offline, they can probably implement that fairly easily. So I was like, okay, test offline, and then hopefully that'll represent what people will be getting once the next patch shows up. Okay, so
right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going along. It's kind of working now. I still have a few issues, but I get over most of those, and I get through it. And I'm finally like, okay, I need to finally find a benchmarking run. I had planned to have a benchmarking run way before now. Sorry?
Of course, it's trash. Luke 2014.
I had planned to have a benchmarking run way before now. I'm kind of worried because I need to get all these cards done, but then at the same time, I'm like, 3/4 of these cards aren't going to work anyways. So whatever. Probably won't be as hard as I'm expecting it to be. Finally loaded to the game, and at this point, I'm like, okay, I need at least a little bit of a fighting scene. I need a little bit of free running, and then I'll be happy. Because I don't need much. Like, I just need something that'll work. And I'll just say in the video that it's not great because I ran out of time because it was broken.
And a benchmark run doesn't necessarily have to be representative of the most demanding scene in the entire game. In fact, a lot of the time it's not, because we're looking for repeatability.
Yeah.
So a benchmarking run should be demanding enough that there isn't an obvious CPU bottleneck.
And you're going to want to try and show some amount of variance. So
yes.
Like explosions and wide shots and close shots and lots of people and different things.
Well, like, we want to get a feel for how the engine performs, and then we want to be able to rank graphics cards against each other by relative performance. That's the point.
Yeah.
How much more, quantifiably more FPS will I get if I'm running a similar configuration to them in this spot in the game if I upgrade my graphics card to this? That's what we want you guys to know.
Anyways, so I found a spot that was actually not too bad, and it's pretty close to the beginning of the game. You spawn in, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but you spawn in, you run forward and follow some dude. There's a fairly quick little sequence thing. You run a little bit further, you stab some dude, you run a little bit further, there's a little quick sequence thing. You climb up some stuff, you climb up some more stuff, yada yada, fairly straightforward. And it captured the main things that I wanted to find. And I was like, okay, this can kind of work, but considering how fast I found that, I actually have a little bit of extra time. Let's see if I can push on forward and see if there's maybe a little bit more fighting scene, because I literally just ran past this dude, poked him twice, and then kept going, and that's all the fighting I got. And I knew people would have been like, this isn't Assassin's Creed, you have to stab more people. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll try to find something really quick. run forward, kill some guy that I didn't think was super important. In hindsight, like, it kind of makes sense, but it went into this crazy long stream of annoyingly not skippable for a lot of them cutscenes, which ended up being like 8 minutes or something, which if I had any amount of sound might have been good, but I didn't because I'm on a benchmarking rig.
Test bench!
Yeah, so I'm just like, sure, I have no idea what's happening. You guys are talking, that's cool. Anyways, it goes to the next sequence. I'm like, oh, okay, well, how do I get back to the last one? Because that's where my benchmarking run is. You can't. You can't go back, at least at this point in the game. I don't know if maybe later on you're able to go into the thing that I'm going to not spoiler and go back, but at this point in the game you can't go back in sequences. You also can't delete your save file, and you can't restart the game. So you have your one save file, and you have the furthest progress you've gotten to in that save file. What? So for the next little while, I was very surprised that you couldn't do that in-game, for one. But then immediately I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll just do the super ghetto option and go delete it from either, I'm assuming, my documents or app data or inside the game folder. Not super likely that it's inside the game folder because you'd lose your saves if you uninstalled the game, but it's possible. I start looking around, and I can't find jack. I can't find anything. I found a save games folder with folders that were just extremely long, random strings of characters, and inside those folders, just files that were just random numbers. I'm like, sweet! Found a couple that were from today, but like I didn't want to delete the wrong stuff, so I started looking online, and I started tweeting, and I asked people, and some people shared some ideas. Someone was like, oh, it's file 740. Or 720 or something, I don't remember. So I started looking for
File
that.
420.
So
But they can't be high. Because...
you can only run the game on
they
low.
keep on digging!
Oh, there's 2 jokes there. Good one. Anyways, so... eventually I figured, okay, it was supposed to be a folder named 720, but there was no folder named 720, but I found a file named 720, which was... created today, so I was like, oh, awesome, okay, we found it, successful, delete, load the game, save still there. What? What? Okay, so I go and nuke, like, every single file that's been created today. Like, everything I can find, just destroy everything, whatever, like, if I have to re-download a small part of the game, at least I have the bulk of it, just go to, like, destroy everything mode. It takes a while to find everything. Delete it all, launch the game, file still there. I still have my progression file. I'm like, what the crap? What is going on? Why can't I get rid of you? Why won't you go away? And then I'm like, oh, okay, someone posted online, even if you're on offline mode, maybe one of the things that keeps functioning if you have internet is your cloud saves.
Right.
So I'm like, actually, that kind of makes sense, because maybe you go into offline mode to, like, hide from people. Maybe it's their version of anonymous.
Yeah.
But you don't want to lose your save files, so
right.
maybe cloud. I'm like, okay, that's actually not a horrible feature. I'm down with that. Okay, fine. I don't know how many people would want that.
I mean, I'd love it if we could just manage our save files normally anyway.
Exactly, yeah. But, or if it was like Steam, where you could be like, I want to use the cloud save.
Yeah, sync or don't sync.
Don't, yeah. Options are good. Thanks, Ubisoft. Except, no. Thanks, Steam. So I'm like, okay, disable, go back through. I find those old files that I just deleted again. So I'm like, oh, they're cloud syncing. That totally makes sense, because it recreated them, right?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Delete them all, load the game, save file still there.
So, basically, in a nutshell... we're going to try and figure this out.
Yeah.
But it just might take some time. And normally, finding an Assassin's Creed run is just a matter of me making sure Luke gets provided with a review copy of the game that he doesn't have to pay for. And he just goes and plays it because he's going to play it anyway because he's the biggest friggin' Assassin's Creed fanboy ever. Yeah. Like, have you 100%ed every game up till now?
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. So usually finding an Assassin's Creed run is as simple as Luke kind of having it in the back of his mind while he sits and, like...
yeah.
zombies out at his computer for 4 days after launch. You know what? I'm trying to think. Black Flag, you were a zombie for about a week after launch, because as far as I can tell, that was all you were doing outside of work time.
Well, Black Flag
Have you even been tempted to touch Unity?
No, and I haven't.
Wow.
I've been working in my spare time instead of playing.
And
Unity.
you've even played Assassin's Creed games, 100% at Assassin's Creed games that, by your own admission, weren't that great.
No, I hated 3. 3 sucked.
Wow.
I was not a fan of 3 at all.
So, in the spirit of Keep On Digging, we are finally releasing the Keep On Diggin' shirt.
Are we?
Yes.
It's ready?
The campaign is ready. We were supposed to have shirts to wear today.
I think you can get banned from spamming your own channel.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, all right. Well, I
just because that was just a lot. I actually really want this shirt.
So, I am super stoked on this shirt because the way we designed the shirt, it's not just to be used on Ubisoft necessarily. You can keep on digging anything.
So the previous Keep On Digging, even though we didn't use that terminology, would have been EA. So now it's now Ubisoft. And
no,
EA
was Brofist.
Yeah,
that's
true.
the origin of Brofist. That was when we started Brofisting on the show. Yeah.
Wow.
That was
so all these gaming companies start our memes.
I know.
Thank you for being terrible gaming
and
companies.
keep on digging. Like I know that I didn't invent the phrase "keep on digging," but did I popularize it?
Yeah.
For Ubisoft?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's all over the place.
Because there have been some fantastic keep on digging memes and stuff on like PC Master Race, on our own forum.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of GIFs of me digging on the show.
Yeah.
So guys, if you want to rep just the keep on diggingness,
the amount of hatred this morning
that is going on right now. Ugh. Show your support for Luke with a keep on digging t-shirt. Oh, good, we have hoodies. Oh, I might have to order a hoodie because the Highlander hoodie I have is awesome.
Yeah,
it's super nice.
Is it the same kind?
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the same Gildan one. I wasn't sure about Gildan hoodies when we first there we go. When we first ordered our Highlander stuff, and I just kind of ordered one hoping it would be nice, and I was checking if there were better options, and that was all they really had. But it's like super nice. You saw it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely want like a keep on digging hoodie.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna buy one.
Every winter season I get like a new hoodie. This was last season, so I need a new one.
Yeah, so everyone was pretty darn stoked with the quality of the Highlander shirts. So that's why we're going ahead with Teespring again, because they did a really great job of that campaign.
I had
a
guy on the forum and stuff, str_mape, had 2 shirts from, I think one from Distant Lines and one from Teespring, both show up with little holes in them. And he got both of them promptly replaced.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's good.
All right.
I feel like I had more crap to throw at Ubisoft.
Oh no, there's more. Like there's some crap going on with respect to Far Cry 4 review copies.
Oh.
Polygon didn't get one.
Really?
Yeah. They have like a developer version that they can't use to actually review the game, and then they couldn't get it working on any of their PlayStation 4s, and then they're just like, so yeah, other publications got retail copies. We don't really understand why we don't have one.
Whoa.
So we're just going to go buy a retail copy. We'll have a review for you guys as soon as possible.
Wow.
Yeah, they've got a blog post up. I was like,
that's
really?
Messed up. Oh, jeez. And then what was it? Assassin's Creed Unity, the embargo date was 12 hours after the release?
Total, actually, this ties into... Hold on, let me
Total
just see.
Biscuit made a video for that, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he made a video about it, but... okay, here, can I do our next news article first then? But
this is great. I'm so happy with this.
I'm going to talk about Total Biscuit's thing. So Ubisoft stock, and I actually haven't looked at it today. So this is the old headline, but Ubisoft stock fell 9.33% immediately after the Assassin's Creed Unity launch. Good. I mean, we are talking not inconsequential amounts of money, and I am so glad because I am a huge advocate for gamers voting with their wallets. Yeah. If you don't like it, not only don't play it, not only don't buy it, don't even play it. Don't even give them the opportunity to look at like piracy, seeds and torrents and try to extrapolate.
They can take those as positive metrics.
Yes, they can interpret that positively. Even by downloading it, you can be supporting what they're doing. If you ignore Far Cry 4. If every single one of you and all of your friends ignore Far Cry 4 and all of their friends and all of their friends, if you can make a difference to the pocketbooks of these companies, they will treat you like your voice actually matters. Because as long as you keep giving them money, your voice doesn't matter. Not at all.
Yeah, the only reason why we wanted to do, and still kind of want to do, an Assassin's Creed Unity benchmarking video, and the only reason we will want to do a Far Cry 4 video, is that we can warn everyone, essentially. Like,
Yep.
Look at this crap. It doesn't freaking work. Don't buy it.
We're not a gaming publication. We are a hardware publication, so we're going to look at it from a hardware perspective.
Yep.
This is how well this piece of hardware handles this game, and then we're going to do some investigation, which is going to take a lot of detective work in this case, to figure out why this particular game doesn't run well on that particular hardware. And we're going to come to a conclusion that should be fairly obvious by this point in time.
Because it's trash.
Because we want you guys to know this stuff. But we're not going to be doing Let's Plays of Assassin's Creed Unity.
No. Well, exactly 2 minutes.
Yeah,
in a way that you probably shouldn't play the game. Unless you're
So we're going to have it open on our computers?
Yeah, unless you're very specifically trying to benchmark it.
So to be clear, you know, a stock dip like this can be temporary. It might not be indicative of a long-term struggle.
I wouldn't be surprised if it bounced back at least a little bit.
But it can be a warning sign, and it can be, and at least if nothing else, it's going to be an attention grabber. Because executives and bean counters will notice that, even if they're not reading, you know, every comment in the Twitch chat of the Linus Tech WAN show stream, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not
Which
watching...
I feel very disconnected from because I don't have my laptop right now.
Oh, you don't have a laptop? Wow. You're like a peasant of no laptopness. Why don't you just here? Why don't I message?
Well, no, because the peasants are defined by their disbelief of PCs being better.
That's true. I didn't mean console peasant.
Okay.
I just meant you're a WAN show peasant because glorious WAN show master race people have laptops.
So okay, yeah, that's really unfortunate.
I'll ask Nick to bring you one.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's keep going here.
Right, so it's probably gonna bounce back at least a little bit. I hope it doesn't bounce back that much. I don't want Ubisoft to die. Ubisoft has been a good company at some points in time. I think they just need a like massive B slap to the face so that they wake the hell up and stop being idiots.
Yeah, let's just bring back our keep on digging lower third because we're still talking Ubisoft. They're like half the show this week, and it's not like we want to talk about Ubisoft. I'd love for us to just be talking about what a great game Assassin's Creed Unity is and how stoked we are for Far Cry 4.
I would love that to be the topic.
That is the conversation we'd love to have.
Black Flag was amazing, and Far Cry 3 was really, really good. And you know what's incredible? Okay, what news did they get over last week? What news did they somehow get through?
I don't even remember.
There was something really big last week that I don't remember.
Oh yeah, they pulled everything from Steam.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, but then it's back now.
There was other news though that was really big, and we were like, I can't believe you were even noticed. Like you made yourself.
I don't even remember.
While this was going on.
Yeah.
Either way.
Oh, BlizzCon.
BlizzCon, right.
Yeah.
BlizzCon was going on, and people still heard about what the hell Ubisoft was doing because they were
And
that
BlizzCon
ridiculous.
was such a big deal this year.
BlizzCon was huge. And then now, there was just the Warlands of Draenor release, and everyone's freaking out over Ubisoft. What? How are you that bad?
I'm kind of tempted to pick up WoW again.
Really?
Should I just not?
Last time you got pretty...
I know. Last time was bad. Okay, forget it. I'm not going to. I'm just going to repair my joystick and play more X-Wing. Okay,
Maybe wait till your kids are at like a minimum age.
So this was original articles here. This was posted by I'm the Walrus, by the way, the Ubisoft stock falling thing. Original sources here were kitguru.net and finance.yahoo.com. But there were also some other things that were brought up by these other articles. We might not even need a charger. I think it's charged, right? Yeah, just, yay, Luke will have a laptop.
Thank you.
But one of the other things that was pointed out was that things are not looking that great for Far Cry 4 because some publications didn't get review copies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not necessarily a great sign. And then...
And, like, with stuff like that, that Polygon post, like, people are going to read that. And that is going to be taken as a negative review if people are reading into it properly.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
The fact that you, for whatever reason, are not enabling as many publications as possible to get their hands on this game so that they can rave about how great it is a really bad sign. And I mean, Total Biscuit's comment, I think, is awesome about the way that the Assassin's Creed Unity embargo was handled, where the review embargo was not lifted until 12 hours after the game's retail availability, which is, given the way that games cannot be refunded anymore if you buy a physical copy, or really any copy, is really telling. I mean, that really says something about how they might have felt about how quickly they needed to cash in on the immediate launch sales before the reviews go up and people start maybe considering whether to wait for even Far Cry 4 or some other game to spend their money on.
Not good. Not good. I would lose consumer confidence basically immediately. If I had a Far Cry 4 pre-order, which I don't, but if I did have one, I honestly probably would have canceled it once I read that Polygon post, because I'm pretty skeptical already. There's very few things that I'll pre-order. I'll pre-order stuff like Smash Bros for Wii U.
You would have normally pre-ordered Assassin's Creed.
Actually, yes, I would have normally done that. I have done that for every single other Assassin's Creed launch, but this one.
Yeah. So anyway, Total Biscuit came out and said he is not going to accept review copies of any game that has an embargo that is after the launch time of the game,
which is awesome.
Which is awesome, and I think that's great. I think that's a great way to handle it. And it just, I actually responded to, I think it was that tweet or one of the related ones, just because I was so blown away that you could have a review embargo after people are expected to drop their money for the game. I mean, no one in the hardware industry does that. No one, and you know what? And you know what? John Total Biscuit has actually tweeted me as well, saying that he has no idea how we seem to kind of pull off this weird thing where our advertisers are hardware companies, and yet we criticize these companies openly on our shows and in our reviews, and somehow we've managed to take money from these companies for advertising, maintain the trust of our viewers, and maintain the relationships with these companies, and do it all at the same time. And he was just like, how does this even work?
I think it's because there's a much different mentality with like computer hardware companies and gaming companies. Computer hardware companies seem like infinitely humble, and they'll take whatever you say and they're just like, yes, okay, next time we do better.
And that's not true of all of them.
No.
But that's true of many of them. They just seem to be so much more mature than these gaming companies. Someone like Corsair, if I come out and I slam them about something, I'll get an email. But they're not going to pull our funding. No. They're not going to refuse to work with us. They're not going to stop seeding us review samples because they value the input. What a friggin' concept, right?
Oh my god. Amazing. Not really with gaming. In gaming, they tote their marketing muscles as much as they possibly can, try to silence anyone that they possibly can that would say anything negative about them at all, and then just try to slam games down your throat, and then
it is a generalization.
Pour the DLC water down.
Not every gaming company is like this.
No.
Praise Gaben.
Praise Gaben. What is it? Supergiant Games does really well. There's definitely developers and publishers that are good.
And there's ones that mostly seem to try to do the right thing, but sometimes screw up, and we have to understand and respect that too, and that's fine. People are human. They make mistakes. We make mistakes. But it just feels...
It's just, Ubisoft screw up feels like some like Cartoon Network, like... where they just keep falling forever.
It's like EA last year.
Yeah.
Where just every week they were doing something horrendous.
They fall down the hill and gather so much momentum because the hill is so large that they have enough momentum to climb up the next one and then fall down it over again. Like, ridiculous. Stop screwing up. Hit a wall at some point and then just be like, no, we will be better.
We're going to shut up. We're going to say nothing. We're just going to make games that hopefully people want to play.
Yeah, if they stop talking and start working some more, maybe they can fix some of their crap.
I gotta say, the whole thing with the draw call issue in Assassin's Creed Unity is so believable.
Yeah.
Because their whole defense of Unity to Ryan from PCPer was, we weren't going to dumb down the detail and the objects in the city.
It like and when,
Every object is a draw call.
yeah, and when Call of Duty like massively outclasses you in every possible appearance aspect,
know.
that's bad. You
I
did something
know.
wrong.
I know.
Like Assassin's Creed is supposed to be the like, holy crap, this game looks good.
I mean, Advanced Warfare should have been taking all the headlines for crap, and instead, I mean,
Everyone's like, oh, it's pretty good.
you know, it's probably unfortunate that they didn't publish after Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 4. So they could have, because I suspect a lot of, because you know how it's always what's over the horizon?
Yeah.
You never look back at what was that thing I didn't buy. It's always like, okay, well, Far Cry 4 is coming next, or this is coming next, or whatever's coming next.
What can we get later?
I feel like if they had just kind of waited for all the people who didn't spend their money on all the stuff that came before them, they could have gotten an even bigger payday.
Probably. I doubt they need it. I'm
Thanks
sure
COD they did fine, but...
Yeah. I'm sure they did totally fine. But it's just like, how did you get graphically outclassed?
Whoa. Photoshop CS6 says Linus doesn't even play video games. Linus doesn't game as much as he'd like to. That doesn't mean Linus doesn't play video games.
He's starting to a lot more lately, too.
Yeah. I've been finding a little bit more time for it, especially on my Shield.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shield, actually, that leads us really well into not a Ubisoft topic.
Hooray!
Yay! nVidia just announced that their grid streaming service, and this was this was posted by Jesper 101996 on the forum, and the original source is the nVidia blog. But Grid is coming out of beta. So Grid has 20 titles right now, including, actually, I'm just going to fire up the Grid game list here, but they've got Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, they've got Alan Wake, American Nightmare, they've got Darksiders, Darksiders 2, Dead Island, Psychonauts, which is a friggin' awesome game, by the way. If you have a Shield and you have an internet connection that's good enough for Grid, go play Psychonauts if you haven't already. Saints Row the Third, Trine 2, Witcher 2, Ultra Street Fighter 4. Like, there's some pretty... great games on this list.
What's the like payment plan stuff for this? Does it just come with a Shield or?
Okay, so the beta's been free for anyone with a Shield, and the non-beta is free for anyone with a Shield until June 2015.
Okay.
So you get about 6 months of free access to the gaming service.
Pretty good, actually. That's a lot more than a trial.
Yes, which, considering the cost of something like a Shield tablet and a controller, when you look at the Shield tablet as, oh, it's also a very competent 7-inch tablet, it's actually a pretty darn compelling value.
Yeah, that feels a lot like I'm trying to remember the name of it, but those HP things.
Yeah, the streams.
Yeah, where you get so much stuff with them.
Yeah, where you get not just value-add stuff that's like, hey, you got a 30-day trial of McAfee. Can I interest you in paying us?
It's not even value-add. It's just like...
where there's real value-adds that are relevant to the people who are using that device. So you get 6 months for free if you buy a Shield now. They're recommending 10 megabits per second down and 60 millisecond ping or less to your nearest Grid server, but they're expanding their Grid server network. So there's already the one in California. They've added one in Indiana, and EU and Asia are soon to come. So it looks like what they're building is, it looks like it's meant to be about like Netflix for games.
Yeah.
Now, you can say what you will about the 60 millisecond additional latency. That is not going to be palatable for certain types of games. Are you going to play CSGO with an extra 60 milliseconds of lag?
No. But you probably wouldn't have played that on a controller.
But are you going to play Darksiders? Sure, why not?
Probably. That's probably fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, they've also got other news. The Shield tablet is getting Android 5.0 Lollipop in a few days. They're gonna be. I think I was on the phone with someone from nVidia today, actually, and he was saying, I don't remember if he said they're gonna be the first or one of the first device makers whose name is not Google to have Lollipop on their device. I mean, nVidia committed back when they launched Shield Portable to prompt Android updates.
Yeah.
But come on, we've heard that.
Yeah.
We've heard it over and over again. How many prompt Android updates have you gotten for your Galaxy device? One per device is usually about the general rule.
Yeah.
And then you might get an update, but everyone else has been using it for 6 months, 9 months by the time you get it, if at all.
Yeah.
Whereas NVIDIA's like, on this.
Yeah, it's actually kind of absolutely fantastic, if I do say so myself. It's nice to see that, especially when you're getting a device that, like, talking to people that aren't you about Shield is like often they don't really know what it is, or they're like, is there really a lot of support for it? Like I don't really see anyone using it. Now I see it around a fair amount when looking at stuff like our forum, and like within the office and like these closed ecosystems.
But I got a message from someone either on the forum or Twitter where they told me how the Shield was kind of embarrassing to be out and about with because people kept asking if it's a portable Xbox. Sorry, just go on, but yeah, just to illustrate the point.
But yeah, like it's very new and it's very different, so people are a little bit skeptical about it. So I think it's actually really good for them that they're getting these, like they're pushing the update thing really, really hard, and they're actually repeatedly getting these really early updates, which is awesome because that's just going to increase confidence that they are interesting products, and they're really good.
Would you buy an nVidia phone?
Actually, probably,
because I know you're not into the tablet thing so much.
Not really. And phones, the only reason I'm not super into phones, the only reason is because most of them are trash.
That's a strong statement.
It's true though. Like there's so many that have glaring issues that you like know someone must have figured out. And then the Droid Turbo is just not coming to Canada at all.
Is that right?
In no form. My brother tweeted them and asked, and they were like, no, the Droid Turbo or Variation Max are not coming to Canada officially from Motorola.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So like,
awesome.
What the hell? The one phone that's like, that's super cool. Nope. God.
Wow, that's really sucky. I mean, it's not going to happen with Tegra K1 because Tegra K1's power consumption is just straight up too high.
Yeah.
But if Tegra K2 or whatever they end up calling it came to a phone, would you consider it? I mean, they're not that far away. They've already got the tablet 32 gig, which has LTE, and they did acquire that LTE radio technology maker not that long ago, so they can build their own radios. I don't think it's that difficult to.
I'd be really interested.
I would check it out. I'd want to check it out.
I would definitely want to check it out. If they got the battery capacity right, and they had a not trash camera, I would be definitely confident enough in the rest of the phone to be like, all right, let's do this.
nVidia is one of those companies where I think the camera could go one of two ways. They could either have a bunch of knowledge from, because they know a lot about image processing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's not like they don't have experience when it comes to image filtering to make things look better. This is NVIDIA's friggin' wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they know that much about sensor technology. So I don't know which way the camera would go, and that's a huge part of any smartphone purchase. One thing just to note is that right now, the 32 gig version of the Shield tablet, NVIDIA's on fire with this announcement here, comes with Portal, Half-Life 2, and Half-Life 2 Episode 1.
Holy crap.
Android versions, if you jump up to that one, in addition to the grid thing.
And those are all pretty good to play on that device as well, actually. Especially Portal. Portal's really good.
I played Portal on the Shield Portable.
Yeah.
And Shield Portable is getting Lollipop support, but we don't have an ETA for that yet. So I'll have to wait, because I don't really use my Shield tablet much. I mostly use my Portable.
Yeah.
All right, other NVIDIA news. This was posted by Big Stroons on the forum. The original article is from techreport.com. The GTX 960 has been found in an India import and export label or data or something. The record states 4 gigabytes of GDDR5, a 256-bit bus, 993 megahertz core, and 6008 megahertz memory. It's unclear whether that is a base or a boost clock speed, and the price translates to around $256 US, although we don't know if that will be a retail price or if that's like an NVIDIA to their board partner price or a board partner to retailer price or just an invented number.
Or if they're going to flip it 18 times 3 days before it's out, because they kind of do that sometimes.
Because they do that sometimes. The speculation on the internet right now is that this is going to be a GK104 based card. So actually the same chip as the 980 and 970, just like we saw with the 680, 670, and 660 Ti. We should probably do our sponsor spots, actually. So we're going to start with the one that I hopefully label, yay, Phantom Glass. So Phantom Glass, we love these guys. For any of the viewers who have watched before, you know what? The sales pitch for Phantom Glass doesn't really change. So I do find myself repeating myself a fair bit, but it doesn't need to change, because it's good enough as it is. The only reason that we started working with these guys was that And it's just kind of a funny story. The only reason I reviewed the product at all was because the guy was Canadian. Because normally screen protectors, we've only done 2 screen protector videos in the entire time Linus Tech Tips has existed.
And they've both been, like, very oddly innovative.
Yes, some kind of real, actual important thing that happened with them.
Yeah.
So the only reason I would even listen to him was he was Canadian. And then the only reason I wanted a review unit was because I was like, okay, if this does what you say it does, I will like it. But if it doesn't do what you say it does, then I'm going to throw it in the garbage and never talk about it again. And he was like, okay. Just send over the review unit. And then the reason that we're doing advertising with them is because it's friggin' awesome. Basically, it's a sheet of Gorilla Glass 3 that sits over top of the existing pane of glass on your phone. So if you already liked any kind of the glare, clarity, touch, feel characteristics of your phone screen, it will be exactly the same. It does add a little bit of thickness to the front of the phone, but it's still compatible with other third-party cases, and it has this like nano coating on the bottom of it that actually works. Like, it actually does what they say it does. I think you'd have to work pretty hard to try to get a bubble under phantom glass. And if you apply it wrong, you can just pull it up, reapply it. I've actually done it, and it goes on perfectly second time around. So pretty cool. I mean, if it's given that it's kind of expensive, it's nice to be able to reuse it, because I actually had to RMA my HTC One M8. So I had to pull my phantom glass off.
Yeah, you peeled it. Yeah,
so I put it in some saran wrap to keep it safe, because I don't really have the original packaging anymore. And there you go. My One M8 is actually back as of yesterday. And before we move into our next sponsor spot, just wanted to share my experience with that. So I was a little disappointed with HTC, because the first my One M8 camera lens cracked. My rear camera cracked. And so rather than work through my HTC rep, I decided, you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to go have the regular customer defective product experience, because it just cracked out of the blue. There wasn't a single mark anywhere on the entire phone other than a cracked rear camera screen. So I would have had to literally take like
drop it on like a very point of a rock, but then catch it before it actually hits the ground.
Yeah, or like take a chisel and like whack it or something in order to crack that thing. So in my mind, this is not something that could have been feasibly broken by accident, and I see it as a design, like probably the one design flaw in that phone that I really dislike is that they used a plastic cover on it. There's actual flex to it. Okay, maybe not, actually it might not be plastic. Okay, I shouldn't say plastic. Maybe it's some kind of composite or glass or whatever else, but it's got some real flex to it once it was broken, and it has a coating on it that scratches off very easily, just taking it in and out of your pocket, and gives you blurry photos until you rub it off with toothpaste. This is a documented problem. Yeah. So I talked to their customer service, and they basically, the first person I talked to seemed to be aware of the issue, and said, yeah, that should be no problem for it to be covered under warranty. But they asked me to call my carrier to ask if they'll deal with the RMA for me, because I'm in Canada and that's the normal procedure. I kind of went, yeah, sure, okay. So I called my carrier. They didn't deal with it because I didn't buy the device from them. I knew that was going to happen, but I jumped through the hoop just to humor them. So I called back, and they told me they couldn't guarantee anything about the repair. And then it turned out that they did want to charge me over $100 for the repair, even though, and the repair center was not willing to advocate to HTC on my behalf or anything like that. I basically said, you guys are experts. You look at phones every day. Is it even possible? Is it even conceivable in any way that I could have damaged the phone in this way at all? Or does this seem like the kind of, because it just cracked out of the blue. And they just went, oh, blah, 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 you have to talk to HTC. So I didn't pay the money. I ended up just going through my HTC contact, telling them I was being jerked around, and they got it taken care of within like an hour. Because that's normally the way that I get treated. But I was disappointed in the way that an actual customer would be treated in that case.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
The problem too, though, is that, like, I get it. Physical damage is generally not covered under warranty.
Yeah, but if it's a known issue, it generally is.
So it's a matter of whether they're acknowledging the issue or not. The internet knows about the issue. I don't know if the internet knows about a cracking issue, but the problem is that my rear camera was scratched already before it even cracked. So I should have been eligible for a replacement had I RMA'd it sooner and it had not cracked on its own. anyway. So that's why I was so upset. So I get it. I understand. I'm just a little bit disappointed.
I've had to deal with very few customer service for like ship out and repair stuff. One of them was an Xbox 360, which was hilarious. And that was actually super easy.
Right.
Because they were all red ringing, so I'm sure their whole factory was just like in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Because it was just a swap. And then the other one was EVGA when I was doing my mineral oil computer. And that was like the best on the phone experience with someone who was supposed to help me in any form ever.
Right.
So
yeah, EVGA is kind of legendary.
I've always
that way.
liked them because of that. Their customer service was fantastic.
All right, so let's move on to, speaking of fantastic customer service and super easy to use, Squarespace.com.
Oh, yeah.
With their 24/7 support and their... Well, basically, it's just a great service. We love Squarespace, we love those guys, and they are on fire lately. They recently introduced Squarespace 7, and it's a huge upgrade over the previous iteration. So they've redesigned the interface. They've got integration with Google Apps, which is really cool for any businesses that use Google Apps. Like, say, for example, the one that you're looking at right now. We use... Can I help you?
Oops.
We use Gmail for our internal email and all that kind of stuff. They've got their new partnership with Getty Images so that you can have great-looking images to match your great-looking site. You know, the funny thing about Squarespace is it feels like some of the stuff they do is more selfish than anything else. It feels like, so the partnership with Getty Images is basically you can get very reasonably priced, beautiful images to put on your site. But it seems like they're just a bunch of geeks who care about websites looking really great.
Yeah.
And they don't want to see people take their beautiful template and put some crap image on it. So it's like it's almost like, and I'm not saying selfish in that like, it's not beneficial to the user. I'm just saying it seems like they just kind of are like, oh, they like...
Don't screw their stuff in bad ways.
Yeah,
take good images.
We really love our product, and we wish you wouldn't, like, make it ugly as it has to be. So we're going to get you guys this, like, great, less expensive Getty Images thing, and you can go get good images. Don't pay much for them. They've got new templates. They've got cover pages, and, yeah, I guess that's... Isn't that it? Right, yeah. Yes. Also, I wanted to just cover the usual talking points. So if you guys don't know what Squarespace is, it's a fast, easy, affordable way to build your own beautiful website. They've got only $8 a month, and you get a free domain for your trouble if you sign up for Squarespace for a year. They've got responsive design, so basically that means your website scales to look great on any device. And they've got integrated commerce now. That was actually one of the previous things that they rolled out that is pretty freaking cool. So if you want to build a store on Squarespace, then you can rock on and do that. So you can start a trial with no credit card required and start building your website today. And you get 10% off if you use offer code Linus and you decide to go ahead and use that website for your store or blog or restaurant or... I don't know, maybe you want to make a website dedicated to pictures of your junk.
Wow, I don't... preferably not.
Please don't, but...
You could.
Yeah, you could.
It's technically possible.
It's possible.
We have the technology. Someone in the Twitch chat, yeah, quite literally. Someone in the Twitch chat was like, please tell Squarespace to fix their documentation for developers. It's really bad. I've looked at it. What are you talking about, for one? And for two, I'm sure you can just contact them. I've had to contact them about stuff before. They've responded very well and very quickly. So if you're having a problem with something, which... I'm not sure what you're doing, because I've looked at actually a fair amount of their documentation for developers. It was all fine from what I've seen. Maybe there's something that isn't. I don't know. But just contact them and it should be fine.
So this is the best way I think YouTube could have possibly done this. They have implemented YouTube Music Key, and this is the first subscription-based YouTube service that we're seeing, and I think they did it absolutely brilliantly. So it was posted by Raf Benayan on the forum, and the original article is from officialandroid.blogspot.com, and basically it's going out of beta, so it's not like it didn't exist already. It's a monthly subscription service for $9.99 a month, but it is $7.99 a month right now, which happens to be exactly the same price as a Google Play Music subscription. So if you sign up now, if you happen to be a Google Play Music subscriber already, then you can just sign up for this. You get a full Google Play Music account for exactly the same price. if you sign up during the promo. And then you also get ad-free music, background play on music, which is pretty nice if you like to listen to music on YouTube, and offline viewing of music on YouTube. It's invite only right now, and those who get an invite get to try it out free for 6 months. If I can get this for $7.99, I'm sold. Done. Because and even if I can get it for $9.99, you know what? I will probably buy it.
That's actually pretty sick. I really like the background play thing.
Yep, background
really
play,
cool.
And to be able to listen to playlists on Monster Cat, for example, and not have the ads interrupt your groove.
That would be really nice.
I think they knocked it out of the freaking park with the way that they implemented this.
That's actually really cool.
Music was the one to go after first, and the way that they did it, enabling it to be the same price as a streaming service that they already offer, that's already great. I love Google Play Music, especially the curated playlists. It's awesome. Google Play Music is more for me than just... I feel like I'm doing another sponsor integration, but it really is amazing. I'm just a paying customer. It's just nothing special. But the way that they manage it, it's more than just... not pirating music.
Is it the same? Sorry, I might not have heard that part. Is it the same thing?
As
If
what?
you have the Google Music that you have right now, is it the same? Do you get this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they're together.
Oh wait, no.
No,
This
so
is
separate?
going to be a more expensive subscription.
But
But it will also
would that one include that one? Okay,
Google Play Music.
Okay, good
yes,
enough.
and then for a promotional period of time, you can get it at the same price.
Okay.
So you should buy this one.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's more than just not pirating music and saving money versus going and buying albums. It's for me, it's all about the curated playlists, where it'll be like, hey, it's Tuesday afternoon. Do you want to listen to like, you know, pick me up music, or do you want to listen to like mellow music? And the I'm Feeling Lucky radio is awesome and does a really, really great job.
Interesting.
Sharp's latest IGZO prototype sets the stage for 4K phablets, as if it matters. I was
going to say, like, you sound surprisingly excited for this. What's happening?
Obscure Mammal posted it on the forum. The original article is from techreport.com, and they have made a prototype 2560 by 1600 4.1 inch panel.
Oh, jeez.
That is some incredible pixel density. So we're talking 736 pixels per inch. That is massively more than the Galaxy Note's 515 pixels per inch. The Google Nexus 6 is 493 pixels per inch, and Apple's iPhone 6 Plus is 401 pixels per inch, which quite frankly is already enough. I should point out that the Droid Turbo has... I really like the display, but the issue is that I don't know if it's related to the fact that it's AMOLED, and I'm really enjoying the deep blacks, or if it's related to that it's 2560 by 1440.
Yeah.
Because on the G3, I didn't feel like there was a benefit to the higher density display, but the contrast wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was icky.
And contrast is more important once you reach a certain point than... You know, I was really surprised at Marcus, MKBHD. He did a collaborative thing with The Verge, like Ultimate Smartphone, like Dream Smartphone. It's like, well, I would take this one, and then I would change this, and I would squeeze this, and I would do this, and it would have a bigger battery, and all that kind of stuff. And I was really surprised he picked the screen from the G3 for his Dream Smartphone. Yeah.
He's wrong.
Oh, well, that's one way of putting it.
That's
I would have said to each his own, but
just no. What?
So the latest IGZO prototype will have 11.5 micrometer pixels that will likely be impossible to see with the naked eye.
When was that article done?
Which one?
Was that done before like Note 4 came out and stuff?
No, it just went up 2 days ago.
Okay, I don't get it.
Okay, so so that's really cool that we won't be able to see the pixels, but one potential drawback is that higher density displays typically require more power to achieve the same brightness, because as you pack in more electronics doohickery, in order to actually get light through it to your eyes, you have to have a brighter backlight. Now, Apple seemed to figure out how to address this on their 5K iMac, and that thing is so bright, and they've achieved the same brightness, they say. I don't have a last gen one, but they've achieved what they say is the same brightness as their last gen one, which is ridiculous. I have it on like 10% at all times. I don't understand why it needs to go that bright, but
just in case you need like a random spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess here, all I have to say about this, mass production will reportedly begin in 2016. So all I have to say about this is by 2016, battery technology better have caught up in some meaningful way, and I still don't care. Because I would still rather have a 1080p, or if you have to have a higher spec to make your competitor look stupid, a 1440p panel that gives me better battery life on my device.
Right.
And better performance at native resolution in games and other applications. Like, I don't want to necessarily have a 4K display on something that gives me no benefit and tanks my battery life and means I'm going to have to run interpolated resolutions in order to get decent performance in mobile games. I don't play a ton of mobile games, but it's more of I'm speaking on behalf of what you guys should be thinking if you do play mobile games.
Yeah, there you go.
Rumours! R9 390X Fiji XT. This was posted by Paragon X on the forum, and this thing looks banana hammers. May feature 4096 stream processor, so 64 compute and 256 texture units, with a 4096-bit memory bus.
Oh my god.
This is due to the fact that AMD is rumored to be using a completely new technology for the memory on this particular card. The more traditional way is we've got the chips laid out on the card, and then we've got contact points on the bottom of the GPU that lead out to them. So that's why it was so costly to implement wider memory buses. That's why we saw memory buses continue to increase on graphics cards until we reached 512-bit, and everyone kind of went, whoa, hold on a second. This is really expensive now in terms of the area that we need for the package, in terms of the contact pins that we need to create on the bottom of the chip itself, and in terms of the PCB design we need to lay out all those traces to all those memory chips. This sucks. So nVidia just bailed, and they stopped at 384-bit. And AMD's, actually, I don't think NVIDIA's ever done a 512-bit GPU. Was 480 512-bit?
That was the only one I could think of. This 480 was an interesting card. Let's see.
512-bit. Or was it? No, I don't think it was.
285.
It was the 285. Okay, anyway, if NVIDIA ever had one, they bailed, and they started doing 384-bit for their high-end cards. And then now we even have a 256-bit GTX 980, which is passing for...
512-bit DDR3.
Okay, so that was GTX 285. So it got really expensive, but it's in a similar, so an analogous technology to what Samsung is now doing on their 850 Pro SSD, where they're not using the latest super tiny manufacturing process, and instead of trying to go wider with the design of their chips, they're actually stacking them on each other. So it looks like this technology is going to enable AMD to deliver massive memory bandwidth. We're talking like a 1024-bit interface per chip, without, hopefully, a huge, significantly much bigger incremental cost. One challenge is that right now we're going to be limited to 4 gig configurations because this is a Hynix technology, or SK Hynix technology, and it's only the first generation. But yeah, we could be looking at bandwidth for the memory bandwidth for the graphics card in the 640 gigabyte per second range.
That's nuts.
That is redonkulous.
I very reportedly am not a huge fan of just rumor mill stuff. You very specifically hope this one comes through. That would be really exciting to see this card.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's...
It makes sense. The problem that I have with rumors is if you've been around for a long time, it would be really easy to fabricate a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you could be like, these things would make sense, rumor printed. And a lot of the times, I even wonder if people are just like, this is probably what it's going to be. And just rumor drop, and then they're like, oh yeah, look, it was accurate. Because usually it's going to be accurate.
Because you can look at things like roadmaps, like if, you know, SK Hynix says, okay, we're going to be sampling it here, we're going to be going into mass production here, and then you look at fairly credible rumors like when the 390X is rumored to launch, and you go, well, gee, why would they be mass producing it if not for X?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the time you can kind of guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of exciting memory technology, this was also posted by Big Strunes on the forum. Original article is from Tweaktown. Sandisk releases memory-mounted SSDs. These fit in DDR3 memory slots, and they're available in up to 400 gigabyte capacities. So either 200 or 400 gigabyte. Oh crap! I need to set this reminder for myself for later. Otherwise, I will not remember. Oh, good. I already have a reminder for 5 minutes before it happens.
Hooray!
Yay! Back to the dock. Yeah, so 200 and 400 gigabyte capacities, and basically you'll just slot SSDs into memory slots. What? I mean, this is not a consumer-oriented technology. You're not going to be putting this on your Z97 Deluxe or whatever. This is more for servers, but what it does is it removes complexity, components, and cabling from server designs. If you had a server where you didn't actually need a ton of memory, but you did need a lot of storage, but you wanted it to be compact, this could make a ton of sense.
And you need, like, crazy fast storage.
Yeah, because
maybe not a lot, because these aren't actually very high capacity drives.
Well, hold on a second. 400 gigabytes per drive on something like a 16 DIMM motherboard.
Cost.
Yeah, it's expensive. I didn't say it wasn't expensive.
And it's not even going to help that much in terms of space, really. Like, it's largely going to be for speed.
Okay, well, it offers 880 megabytes per second of sequential read speed and 600 megabytes per second sequential writes. But the big one here is actually the warranty. So it's got a 5-year warranty at 10 full disk writes per day. So the application for this looks like it's more like caching and less like mass storage.
Which makes a ton of sense.
So you could build extremely compact racks that are just designed to cache data, and they can actually do full flushes of the entire so we're talking 4 terabytes per day per drive in this cache server that has all these drives in it and is lightning fast, very responsive, and has extremely low complexity and very small size. Incredible technology. I mean, I would have said...
And for a storage, because databases will need a lot of RAM, but in servers that aren't going to need a ton of RAM, which there's definitely some of them, if you want to cache some of your drives and you can fill those slots with these, that would be sick. Because, again, the reducing complexity thing, not having those extra cables and stuff, that's super, super nice.
And to be clear, they're non-volatile storage, so they're not like memory in that as soon as the system powers off, the data's gone. Yeah. So they're just SSDs. They just go in a DIMM slot. That's freaking cool.
I want to see one. Is there a picture in here?
Yeah, I think so. It's just my screen sharing's not working,
okay.
so...
I'll check it out later.
BMW is developing streetlights that can also charge your electric car.
What?
Now... The whole idea of having roadside stations or parking stalls with electric chargers in them was kind of like, yeah, okay, I guess.
We'll slowly
this idea? Wow, this is game-changing. Because, the idea is not that you would have to replace all the street lamps in your entire city. The idea is that you would be able to retrofit your existing street lamps with chargers and be able to monetize it. Brilliant. What city doesn't sign up for that? They get to go greener. They get to have an additional new revenue stream in the longer term.
Yeah, they can monetize things.
And I mean, you'll see this. I think we're going to see this in obviously more densely populated urban areas first. But all of a sudden, the whole parking thing, maybe you can have like a bundle thing where you buy your parking for that spot, and that also includes zapping your car for the time that you're there, and ends up making a ton of sense for electric vehicle owners. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
I don't think Tesla has commented on it yet, at least not at the time that we were working on the dock. But I would imagine Tesla and Musk would be very supportive of a technology like this.
Probably down, yeah.
Anything that expands the infrastructure for electric vehicles is going to make a big difference to people who are considering buying one.
The only thing I can imagine Musk being against is if he looks into it and realizes that it's, like, I'm completely hypothetical.
Right.
So, realizes isn't a fact. I'm just saying, like, if this happened, realizes that it's crap.
Like, if he comes up with something we didn't think of.
Yeah,
that's
it's bad because of this reason, or he tries it and it's bad because he observed this thing or whatever. That's the only real reason why I could see him being against it, because he's a definite advocate for trying to get more of that kind of stuff out there. And if he can suddenly utilize all of these things in that ever-growing map that he's trying to do, which is you can travel here to here to here to here, if he can suddenly just go, there's all these spots now filled up. Of course, we're going to keep putting superchargers.
Yeah.
Because those are going to be the super fast ones. But this will massively expand your network. I'm sure he'd be down for that.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the future of that. I think this makes a whole lot more sense than solar powered roadways.
Yeah.
In terms of how much thought appears to have been put into it. And, you know,
so any?
I don't think Musk doesn't seem like the kind of guy who gets all butthurt because, you know, someone else came up with a good idea. I think if it's a good idea, he has no problem going head to head Tesla's EVs versus BMW's EVs.
And he'll just try to do a better thing.
I think that's I think this will happen. This is the most sensible idea I've heard yet for how this could be implemented, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of bad ideas, Google did a phishing survey, not this kind of phishing, PH phishing, which is a method of attack that actually gets you to give up your information voluntarily.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, by tricking the user.
Similar to social engineering.
And you know how, you know, you and I'll have conversations where we'll get a particularly stupid spam email or a phishing email, and we'll laugh to each other and kind of go, really? Could anyone fall for this? Yes.
I used to work in tech support places. They do.
Google's phishing survey revealed that 14% of people submit information to hackers. Wow. Google and UCSD looked at 100 phishing emails picked out of a random sample self-reported by Gmail users. The researchers also reviewed a random sample of 100 phishing websites caught by Google's safe browsing system to further understand how the scams work. These websites were all created through Google Forms, which is how researchers were even able to access the data, and even the worst performing phishing websites, like think about some of the ones you've seen where it's just like obviously not a real website, full of typos. Like you click on any navigation on the site and it doesn't go anywhere. It just leads to a broken page. Like we've all seen them. Even on the worst performing, 3% of users still submitted their data. On the most effective sites, as many as 45% submitted their data.
I wonder if this data took account for faked stuff.
Probably not. But I would speculate that most people aren't going to go to the trouble of even... Because, okay, the tech-savvy user, unless they're one of those super tech-savvy users who runs, you know, a virtual machine on their computer solely for the purpose of opening up, you know, potentially malicious stuff, you know, unless you're one of those, I would venture that most moderately power users are just not going to click it.
Yeah.
Because you don't even want to go to that site. Yeah. That's bad.
Yeah.
You just don't even want to go there.
When I used to work at certain shops, depending on where it was situated, so like depending on the demographics of the area around me, I could get from like 1 a week to maybe 2 a month. So like 0.5 a week, people coming in like, oh, this is even worse. This is just phone calls. Someone called me from Microsoft and said that my computer was sending them messages saying that it was having problems and they need me to go on my computer and type all this stuff. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, you screwed up. It's such an awkward situation. They're like, how do I get my money back? I'm like, you don't. Like, it's gone.
So according to Google's research here, hackers spend an average of 3 minutes figuring out how much an account is worth once they have access, and will apparently move on if the account doesn't seem valuable enough. So there you go. The solution is to either avoid phishing websites entirely, not give them your data, or not have any money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but then you still need to not be a doofus, because the hacker then tries to get money from your account's contact list. So you can be compromising your friends and family members.
Right, yeah.
By being dumb. Speaking of being dumb, Gizmodo.com's article about this website, I can't remember what it's called right now, but this is just terrible. So, creepy website, Insacam, claims to feature feeds from IP cameras all over the world, including 11,000 in the US alone. And Gizmodo browsed some of the feeds, finding people's living rooms, parking lots, porches, and even bedrooms in these feeds. And the site says that the way that they did this was by exploiting people who haven't changed the default username and password on their IP camera. That's creepy.
I don't even know if I should be saying this on stream, but it's fairly widely known, and spreading the knowledge that it exists might help get it fixed. There's certain Google search terms you can use to find open IP cameras, and you can get straight up into their control panels to the point where you can move them around. Like, it's crazy. I was doing like a presentation in high school talking about like internet security stuff. This was a long time ago, and I did a live demonstration in front of the class and like moved the camera around and everything, and it's like, yep, it's really bad.
I mean, it baffles me that more things don't require you to change the password the first time that you log into them, because anyone can be lazy. Even someone who knows better can be lazy. But if
maybe you're just spamming next and you don't notice that one of them was whatever really important. Yeah.
Anyway, Assassin's Creed creator launches new studio. The original article is from GameSpot.com. So following his reported firing from Ubisoft last year, the Assassin's Creed creator has opened a new studio in Montreal called Panache Digital Games. Panache's other co-founder, another former Ubisoft veteran who was fired in 2013, Panache's other co-founder was another Ubisoft veteran. So in June 2013, he sued Ubisoft for $400,000 and the rights to purchase 1666, which he was working on at THQ Montreal before its collapse. Cool.
Interesting. Hopefully he does good things.
Yeah, well, based on how good Assassin's Creed is with his involvement and how rubbish it apparently is without his involvement. Oh, I guess we need to. Okay, so I have to kind of pitch this to you guys again because Nick will give me a hard time if I don't. But the Keep On Digging shirt apparently has already sold like 40 shirts.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because you guys are pretty into repping the Keep On Digging.
Sick.
So we have yet another Ubisoft topic. It's just a short one because they just can't stop, can they? So check it out. It's over on...
Oh, no. This one. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. My brain's going to bleed before we're done this.
Hold on. I'm just trying to post our link here. I don't know if that link is going to work. Hey, look at that, it works. So if you guys want one of these shirts, check it out. I'm gonna spam my chat. Boom! Nick's like, here's one link. I will do things the way that isn't obnoxious. Good job, Nick.
And like says what it's for and stuff. You're just like, blah.
No, dog. And it's funny because of the stream delay, right?
Yeah, so just out of nowhere, just huge amounts of nothing.
All right, so Ubisoft patches microtransactions before frame rate issues. So this is a post that has actually been pulled down already. Let's just go ahead and pull this up here. So this is on Imgur. There we go. A patch has been deployed, and the issues with purchasing and receiving Helix credits is now fixed on PS4. We are continuing to work to solve the issue on PC and Xbox One. 214 thumbs up from the 214 members of the Assassin's Creed team that were told to thumbs up that post.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I just want to make sure it's pulled down. When was this posted? Oh, it just says 14 minutes. That's not helpful.
Yeah. Wow, the rest of their Facebook is just, we are aware of the issues. We are working on it. Yeah, that's already November 11th, so I think we're done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
It's gone.
That post is gone. They don't want
for
us
sure
to. They don't want
gone.
us to talk about that.
Nope.
All right.
Wrecked.
I think
We got it.
Got not much else. Not much else. Apple's chip suppliers are apparently gearing up. Get it? Gearing up
That's a different company.
for mass
though.
production of the Apple Watch. I know it's a competing product.
That's true. That works.
I think it's funny.
I think it would have been
Or
better.
is my humor wearing on you?
Oh, there we go. Except that's still a different company.
I know.
You gotta it's gotta be within the Apple ecosystem.
No,
somehow.
it doesn't.
It does.
Chip orders are estimated to be around 30 to 40 million units for a debut in early 2015. Stainless steel and gold editions will reportedly retail for prices starting at $500 and $4,000 respectively.
Oh.
The Lenovo S90 is the most ridiculous phone I think I've ever seen. Speaking of patent trolling,
Oh no.
if Apple was gonna go after anyone about anything, this Oh, right, my screen sharing isn't working.
Wrecked.
Bloody balls.
Wrecked.
This should have been it, because this is absolutely brutal. Here we go. On the left, the iPhone 6. On the right, the Lenovo S90.
Wow.
On the bottom, the iPhone 6.
No way.
On the top, the Lenovo S90. They even copied the promotional images. I mean, the antenna band is the same.
Wow. Wait. Are those different? Those are different. Oh, no. That's not good.
Isn't that horrible? Apparently, this phone is not going to be available in all regions, and I'm guessing this has to do with that Lenovo knows they have no ground to stand on. If they brought this thing to the US, there would be a sales embargo like that.
Yeah, that's
it looks like it's a China-only design.
Not surprising.
This was posted by Shadow Captain on the forum, though. I tweeted this out earlier this week. Or rather, I posted it on Facebook, because I thought that was hilarious. Like, just embarrassingly blatant copying.
That's funny.
All right, so I think that's pretty much it. There's only one other thing that I wanted to call out. We did a couple live streams. If you guys are interested in programming, so becoming a coder, we actually did a number of live streams. They were sponsored by Modus, the same guys that we partnered with for Geek Stakes earlier this year, where they gave away a bunch of really cool stuff. They're a placement firm for coders, so basically they work with companies that need coders and coders who need placements, and
companies.
Connect them.
Wow.
Not as aggressively as that. They're like pretty nice about it.
A little bit more considerate of each other's needs.
Yeah, so anyway, they sponsored a series of interviews where we took some folks from Code School, which is a video tutorial online site where you can learn coding in a fun and engaging way. And they had a few of those folks come and interview with us about sort of how to become a coder. And of particular interest is number 2. That one was really excellent, especially if you know any females who are thinking about programming, because she talked a little bit about what it's like as a female learning to program and being involved in the developer community. I thought that was really, really cool. And actually, our third interviewee was really cool as well, because a lot of what we talked to him about was not sitting in front of your computer. You know, finding inspiration for your programming projects in the real world by being a real person and doing real things.
Especially stuff like apps, or if you want to build a program which is going to solve someone's real world problem, you probably need to get off your butt and go figure out what that problem is. Because
we see a lot of solutions that are to problems nobody has.
Yeah. Which is great if you like have a different job and you're just solving your own solutions that other people might not have. That's awesome. That's a really good way to program. And actually, most programmers that I know just do that because they'll have other jobs and then they'll program their own solutions to stuff. But if you want to like make your job doing stuff like apps for phones, you probably need to figure out stuff to go do.
Huh, look at this. Okay, well, we've got one more news item. Hi, Linus. I'm sure you saw some news floating around today about statements made by Richard Huddy in regards to DirectX 12. I wanted to provide comment from AMD to give some context around what has been said thus far. There have been reports based on a video of Richard Huddy of AMD making speculative comments about DirectX 12 support on versions of Windows. Richard Huddy does not speak for Microsoft. He was unfortunately speculating for Microsoft publication of key dates and milestones for Windows 7 lifecycle and blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, that's not very interesting. Never mind. Boring email. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it.
No longer interesting. Goodbye.
All right, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning into the WAN show. We'll see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And thank you also to so many of you for tuning in. We had almost 6,000 viewers today.
We had over 6,000 viewers.
Did we?
At one point. Not for a huge amount of time, but we did.
Well, you guys are awesome, and we will see you